The story of the Viking presence in Vinland revolves around the Norse exploration of the North Atlantic and their attempts to settle in parts of the Americas during the early 11th century, well before Columbus. The term Vinland, as referenced in Norse sagas, describes a fertile land discovered to the west of Greenland, believed to be somewhere along the coast of North America. The most widely accepted theory is that Vinland corresponds to areas in present-day Newfoundland, Canada, where archaeological evidence supports a brief Norse presence. The Norse exploration of Vinland is chronicled in the Icelandic sagas, particularly the Saga of the Greenlanders and the Saga of Eric the Red. According to these stories, Leif Erikson, the son of Eric the Red, embarked on an expedition around the year 1000 AD, following rumors of lands to the west. Leif and his crew reached a place they named Vinland, due to its abundance of wild grapes or berries, and described it as a land of rich resources and milder climate compared to Greenland and Iceland. In Vinland, the Norse found a variety of resources, including timber, game, and fish, which were scarce in Greenland. They established temporary settlements, the most famous being at Meadows in Newfoundland, which is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This site provides archaeological evidence of a Norse settlement with structures resembling Icelandic and Greenlandic styles, as well as artifacts like iron nails, indicating shipbuilding or repairs. However, the settlement appeared to be short-lived, likely lasting only a decade or two. The Norse presence in Vinland was marked by encounters with indigenous populations, whom the Norse called Skrælings. The identity of the Skrælings is debated, but they are believed to have been ancestors of the Algonquian, Beothuk, or Dorset peoples. The relationship between the Norse and the indigenous peoples was tense, characterized by occasional trading but also conflict. The sagas describe a series of skirmishes, with the Norse often being outnumbered and facing resistance from the indigenous groups who were defending their territories. The conflicts with the Skrælings posed a significant challenge to the Norse settlers. The indigenous populations were familiar with the land and had superior numbers, which made sustained Norse settlement difficult. In one saga, an encounter describes the Norse being forced to retreat after being overwhelmed in battle, with several Norse killed in a surprise attack. The resistance from indigenous groups, combined with the logistical difficulties of maintaining settlements so far from their established colonies in Greenland, likely contributed to the eventual abandonment of Vinland. Beyond the documented exploration of Newfoundland, some theories suggest that the Norse may have ventured even further south, possibly along the coast of North America, or even reaching areas as distant as the Caribbean or South America. These theories are based on limited and often controversial evidence, such as Norse-style artifacts found outside of Newfoundland and linguistic or cultural similarities in indigenous traditions. However, the idea of a Norse presence in coastal South America remains speculative, as no definitive archaeological evidence has confirmed such an extensive reach. Several factors contributed to the Vikings' withdrawal from Vinland. Besides conflicts with indigenous groups, the logistical challenges of supplying distant settlements, the harsh winters, and the lack of immediate resources like gold or silver, unlike those that would attract later European explorers, made permanent colonization impractical. Greenland, already struggling with limited resources and harsh living conditions, could not effectively support expansion into the new territories. As a result, Norse interest in Vinland waned, and the settlements were ultimately abandoned. Nevertheless, the Norse exploration of Vinland is significant as it represents the earliest known European contact with North America. Their voyages demonstrate the seafaring capabilities and adventurous spirit of the Viking Age, as well as a brief intersection between European and indigenous American histories long before the arrival of other European powers. The sagas and archaeological sites, such as Lens aux Meadows, provide glimpses into this short-lived chapter of pre-Columbian exploration. Modern interpretations and theories about the Norse in Vinland continue to evolve, driven by ongoing archaeological discoveries and analysis. Some scholars have reinterpreted the sagas, suggesting that the Norse may have engaged in more widespread exploration and trade with indigenous groups than previously thought. Others argue that the Norse voyages to Vinland were merely a series of exploratory expeditions rather than a concerted effort at colonization. While the Vinland sagas speak of a land rich in resources and promise, they also convey the realities of attempting to establish settlements in unfamiliar territories. The Vikings' encounters with indigenous populations, along with environmental and logistical challenges, highlight the difficulties they faced in trying to extend their reach into the New World. Although the Norse ultimately did not establish a lasting presence in North America, their voyages remain a fascinating chapter in the history of exploration and a reminder of the far-reaching influence of the Viking Age. In recent years, new archaeological findings have sparked debates about the extent of Norse exploration in the Americas. For instance, evidence of Norse-style artifacts in areas far from Newfoundland has led some researchers to speculate about broader interactions between the Norse and indigenous peoples. However, much of this evidence remains inconclusive, and definitive proof of Norse activities beyond the known sites is still elusive. The Viking presence in Vinland, while short-lived, left an enduring legacy, inspiring myths, legends, and continued exploration for centuries to come. It remains a symbol of the adventurous spirit of the Viking Age and the relentless human quest to explore the unknown, bridging the gap between the old world and the new,